Welcome to Disruptive Branding by Saffron Brand Consultants. As a milestone toward achieving Vision 2030, partners The Bold Group and Saffron Brand Consultants recently hosted Pioneering with Purpose, a first-of-its-kind brand leadership event in Riyadh. The event explored how purpose-driven brand leadership engages new generations and accelerates innovation in a new era of memorable experiences for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Bringing together experienced Saudi marketers across destination, financial, and consumer sectors, as well as international pioneers in mobility, the event included 2 roundtables on pioneering the future and places with purpose. Across a 2-episode special, we invite you to hear from these discussions. This first episode features Haitham Alturaigi, Director of Brand and Communications at Tamara, and Rashad Moglbay, Head of Bold Brands, as well as Alfredo Fraile, Executive Director at Saffron.
It's a great pleasure for me to have and sit next to these 2 gentlemen. I'm going to start by introducing Haitham Alturaigi.
Perfect.
How about that, huh? I've been working for that in 2 days. No, but seriously, it's a pleasure to have Haitham. Has played a role in shaping the identity of the biggest tech companies in the region, including Karim and Noon. He's also successful, spearheaded several major campaigns for some of Saudi's leading companies as STC and Shawarma. Okay, and today he is the director of the brand and communications at Tamara. Haitham is dedicated to leading the development of Tamara's brand and identity, making Tamara a household name across the region and one of the, if not already, a unicorn in this part of the world. So congratulations and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And I also have here Rashad Moglbay, which is...
I haven't learned it yet.
I did that on purpose. I've been working with him for 2.5 years now, and so I always pick on him. No, but it's a pleasure to introduce also my friend. That for the last decade, Rashad has been going elbow deep into communications and the branding industry. He has worked in the account management, media, and tech to strategy and business planning and brand building. All right. With a number of notches under his belt, he's the head of Bold Brands, our partner, and he has worked in the local and multinational brands, including the Ministry of Culture, Vision 2030 programs, RCRC, Dirija, Saudi Cargo, Ferrari World Tour Abu Dhabi, and many, many other more. So it's with that introduction, and thank you for joining us. We're going to be talking today. We're going to have a little bit of an open conversation about what you see, which is a little bit of pioneering the future. And to talk about, for example, what Jacob was saying, I've been coming here for the last 4 years now. And I have to say that what I have seen from point A to point W, to mention because it's not said, it's been amazing. And it's been an amazing journey. And it's been an amazing surprise every time I come, where you see all this excitement and ambition in the people, in the companies, in the brands working. And that's one of the things that I wanted to discuss today, a little bit about how this society has been going towards and pioneering towards the future in the economy, and especially with the Vision 2030 as, let's say, the motor of all of this. We could say that it's sort of like the mother of all Saudi brands. And I think it's been a really good push for all of the society, the economy, and the brands moving forward. So I wanted to open up this conversation, and of course had to start with this. What does this mean in terms of this context for Saudi, for the kingdom, of having this Vision 2030 and the push?
Yeah, I think you mentioned, thank you, Alfredo. Welcome, everyone. I think you mentioned something important, how every day you see a new change happening in Saudi Arabia. Every day you feel it's growing, it's becoming more differentiated further. I think we're very privileged to be witnesses of the birth and this unfolding of Vision 2030 and what it brought forward. Initially, during the announcement and in the short phase after the announcement of Vision 2030, we've worked with some of the vision programs and we got an idea of where we're going and where we're heading and what needs to be changed and such. But honestly, nothing could have prepared us to actually experiencing this vision coming to life throughout these 7 years. Experiencing helped us see this passion and spirit in the people and in the society, not just in programs and projects and plans forward. You know, you say Vision 2030 is the mother of all brands. We do believe it's the mother of all brands, but we do think as well it's the purpose for all the people. I think what Vision 2030 injected in the society and in the people, this spirit of passion, of determination, of always pushing forward. I think this changed a lot in terms of expectations, changed a lot in terms of how do we define success, how far can we aim, and how we need to innovate and disrupt towards the future. I think it set very high expectations, be it locally or globally, but at the same time, I think it provided higher ambitions and determination and capabilities to achieve those objectives.
You're from here, but you live in Dubai. You come in and out. How do you see this?
So first of all, thank you, Bold team and Saffron team, for having me. I wish I'm as privileged as you, Abir, to speak in Arabic, but I can't.
Feel free to have some.
No, I'm joking, guys. I'm speaking English just for everyone. So basically, I have this simple story that I feel like it really resonates with me big time. So I graduated from university like in 2016. And I remember seeing all the students around me, and I kept a very good relationship with all of my professors. And like one of my professors, like one day he called me, so basically they've announced the vision in 2017, something around that. So one of my professors just called me and it's like, you know what's different, Haitham, between like today and in your years? Like, yeah, it's not a huge difference, like just 3 years or something. It's like in your years when I ask a question, like how many people are working today outside of their university? It's like 1 or 2 students. But today is like actually the outliers who are not working. So the actual formula has flipped. Like people mindset have flipped, Before I remember, like we just think about GPA and that's it. Today our mentality is like more broader. We think about everything. And I feel very privileged and witnessed to see that, We have Layla with us today. Layla she started working with me at Kareem, and today she's like, I see her work. Like she's one of the most like kind of a mindful writers that I've seen. And I genuinely believe looking at those talents and before, and the way basically the vision is enabling those talents is something that I've never witnessed. And the pace that we are witnessing it is just crazy. So it's about those people, and you see how fast they're changing their mentality, how fast they're basically more enabled to do such things.
No, it's whoever did the EV program for 2030 has done an amazing job in the whole country, because it's something that you could see in everybody's interest and passion and moving forward. And I wanted to ask you guys in terms of, let's say, for example, your industry. I mean, for example, Haitham, you come from the startup world, you come from like technology and everything. How do you see your industry participating in this evolution and change?
It's about building companies that impact culture, It's about building companies that impact the economy. And it comes back to the foundation of the enablement of entrepreneurs to create such things that we shouldn't basically just outsource it, And before, we didn't believe that we can do such things. So now with the regulations that actually enable us to do such things, can enable us also to do such brands like that. So when we talk about Tamara today, because I work at Tamara, one of the things that actually is different. It's like we need to speak to the language that resonates with the people. People want a language that resonates. It doesn't have to be local and that's it. No. They want a language that basically resonates with them, a language that speaks to them, It speaks to the culture, to the inside culture, to the underground scene somehow, that you can convey it. Like we always listen to the ideas like, people are not bold in here, you need to be very safe. No, actually, you can be extremely bold, but just speak their way. Like, if you come as an outsider sometimes and just try to be bold in your own certain context, that's where the clash happens. But actually, people today are very open. People today are actually very willing to take such things, such risk. And that's basically the role of us as branding people, is to close that kind of a gap. And this wouldn't happen without having our own brands to be built through tech companies, because tech companies at the end of the day have this kind of a fast pace of growth. And this would give us, enablement to do such brands.
Do you also see this in your day-to-day with
I
clients?
think it resonates with where Haitham is coming from. But I think we're in a bit different industry and like shaping the brands that are shaping the new Saudi and branding and brand building. Of course, definitely it's a very important role. We're at the forefront of the image building, be it locally or globally. And our role is not just the services we offer or the products we're selling. Our role goes beyond this, because we should stand as the guardians of the growth of this industry. We should help the industry find itself. It's still considered somehow a fresh industry. This transformation caused the demand to increase rapidly for brands. At the same time, it's very fast-paced, and you have at once many different companies that need to come to life at once. So you need to think about capacity. You need to think about how can you match that demand within the same caliber and aspirations that Vision 2030 is bringing. At the same time, we need to think about how can we help build the workforce and ready them. So yeah, our role is, I think, an essential one, and we always need to keep an eye on the growth of the industry, and always need to keep an eye on the challenges it's facing and how can we add value and contribute there.
One of the things that I see that is clear is that, for example, we've been coming in from different parts of the world. There's a lot of international companies coming in different sectors, and today we have the opportunity later on to speak to some, and that is something that changes the way that people, the talent and everything. But how, sometimes we always talk, we talk about the companies, the brands and everything, but as individuals, how has this changed you? And this openness maybe to the country or the different people, different perspective, different views?
I genuinely believe that I was one of the privileged people who basically took advantage out of this change. Because when I graduated from university, I found, we're slightly having this company called Careem. It's like, oh, Silicon Valley is happening in Saudi. That's interesting. So that was a very cool thing to happen. And what Careem was doing as well is like, send the idea of creating a local communication that can resonate with people. And this is something was kind of a new idea at that time. And this would happen only with basically the Vision 2030. Why is that? Because the regulation is just more flexible to move forward. Regulations also want more of a startups that is regional and that can operate with regional talents. So I've took that privilege and basically I've moved forward with it in my career. So I've seen basically career before. It wasn't storytellers, from the region wouldn't have, enough kind of a platform to speak up. But today is like, no, we actually have. And this comes back to the tech companies, to how basically the space is just more open today, and how the government is just way more open to create those regulations that's enough flexible to those companies, to do such kind of a brands. And this helped us a lot. We can do our own stories. We can sometimes fail, so that's okay. But, we can sometimes take a different route. But we know, again, that we can make something in the right way. And it's about testing. It's about A/B testing, and then know what works, what doesn't, and just stick to it.
Yeah. I know that the government of Riyadh city is building digital and technology centers to have these type of companies, and especially professionals like you guys, to help and to teach and to pass it along to other generation and everything. So it's an exciting time. Well, how about you?
It is definitely exciting times. I think it's not risk taking. It's openness to experiment and explore, like you were saying, new methods and in pursuit of this innovation and disruption. I think that teaches you a lot for first. And I think as well, being in Saudi Arabia and this collective spirit you are part of, you kind of find your purpose in everything you do as well. We do feel that we're contributing to the success of Vision 2030. And personally, I believe in the vision, and I'm more than happy. I'm excited. I'm passionate. At times where I know trial and error, and you need to, if you want to innovate, you cannot be afraid of not succeeding from the first time. The most important thing is to keep trying and keep repeating. So yes, this spirit, I think it develops you very fast, and the scale of your development and your exposure becomes much bigger as well. I believe this is on a personal, professional level, how I feel the development on the end.
Sorry, Alfredo, just one point in here. Like, one of the things that I've noticed is, before I used to see, it's like, and I think anyone who works in the marketing field would get that, it's like campaigns would go viral much more easier than today. And what happened today is, like, there are so many creative people that actually can think like the same, and then you can see a lot of good ideas that none of them would fly that easily. Like, today the challenge is much more tough. Why is that? Because these people were enabled, to get their voices out there, and what created is basically more kind of a competition for one thing to go viral. Like, I remember 2017, 18, 19, I can in each year pick this campaign went viral, this campaign went, but now with the last 2 to 3 years, it's actually getting really difficult, because there is a lot of creative people that thought, you know what, why would I be an engineer? I can be a creative person, And this basically how talents were enabled to know their voices and to know where they should work in.
Yeah. So you think that there is a bigger movement now in terms of creativity, of design and everything? People want to be, instead of a banker.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I remember when I told my dad, it's like, I'm going to study marketing. It's like, what, you want to work as a cashier? It's like, no. So that was the idea, But today, no, they have kind of a different attitude. Like, people are more open to such ideas. And the generation is changing. And I genuinely love it. I feel like today, like, we've just interviewed a guy. It's like, he's a filmmaker. His film was selected in multiple kind of awards, and he just want to work as a copywriter. It's like, I believe I'm a writer, It's like, I wouldn't see this scene before. And people are believing in themselves. They're believing in their kind of guts, and they go with it, this is one of the things that talent is feeling recently.
Yeah, we wanted to touch upon, you started to talk about it a little bit before, which is the thing about culture.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas the thing about, for example, how does a culture of innovation, experience, and collaboration enables and connects, first of all, to develop these products and services that resonate and connects with the different audiences? How do you see that now? How is the process for you guys?
Yeah, it's I generally always say that, like, culture can be impacted through, someone in power, and brands have that kind of a power. If you have money, if you have product that can scale, you can impact culture. So, and this is the beauty that we are basically tackling today, is like how, like, I love how today, when someone is thinking about BNPL or installments, they just drop the word Tamara. It's becoming a joke, like, it's becoming part of pop culture. And this is where you feel like, somehow you made it in the branding. Well, that's going to be a different challenge when you're like, maybe I'm expanding outside of buy now, pay later. That's going to be a challenge for us for sure. But this is Alfredo, we need to work on this one.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a challenge basically to expand beyond that. But the thing is, it impacts culture in a way that you can feel like, sometimes when like, when I go home and I see my sisters joking about Tamara, I just love it, because I know she's not into business at all. She's not into startups, but the joke that comes to her mind is actually about Tamara. I think this is where you can impact culture. This is where you reach the masses. And when you reach the masses, that means that you are not in your own creative bubble and just think, I'm right, everyone else is wrong. And this is where the challenge comes in. How can you reach people? How can you reach the masses? How can you simplify the message, yet add that twist to it that can resonate with people? And this is where, speaking the same kind of a tone comes in, plays a role. Like, today, our biggest channel is TikTok. We don't do production anymore. Like, I remember, 2 million, 3 million spend on production. We don't do that anymore. Like, we just do a simple video. We have Abdurrahman in here. He's a copywriter with us. He sometimes just do one simple video, 10 million views. It's like, why do I need to do a production? You know what? I have Abdurrahman.
Yeah.
Yes. So, like, it's cool. It's the cultural impact is changing. So you just need to be flexible with that.
Yeah. You're hired, huh?
I think, Abdurrahman, you need to leave your number.
Abdurrahman, you're not leaving. You're staying with us.
And how do you think about this point? I mean, would you like to expand a little bit on this?
I think the dynamic is similar, but I want to speak about the internal culture that companies and brands have. In a way, they're very similar when we speak. Let's say if we think Vision 2030 is the brand, then the people and the entire society is the culture of this brand, or the internal culture. So let's take it now on the brand front. Any business organization. There's this nice example we always give to understand the dynamic between culture and the brand. Think of an egg. Think of the egg. If it breaks from the outside in, it's food. But if it breaks from the inside out, it's life. And the same is true for a brand that is built from the inside out and versus a brand that stays in drawers or just statements. And this is the importance of people and people aligning with your bigger purpose, with your bigger picture. And they know what they need to be doing and they know how to represent the brand, for example, Abdul Rahman, without getting too much micromanaging or too much attention. Because culture is important. If you're expanding as Tamara let's say to the Middle East, how will you ensure that this culture and this way of thinking and the reason why you're doing what you're doing remains true if you need to be involved in every single decision? You need to be able to trust the people. You need to be able to trust your members. And you need to be able to give them a culture where they can experiment. They can try to innovate. They can try to push forward, be the services and the products. And I believe the same is true if you take it on the bigger picture towards a country and its people.
True. That's very true. I remember at Kareem, they've had a very nice strategy because they were operating in all cities. So each city will have their own marketing team. It's even if it's one guy, that's it. Yeah. So they need to work with a central team or something. So I remember also a funny thing is people used to think that, the Saudi people think Kareem is Saudi. The Egyptian people in Egypt thinks Kareem is Egyptian. People in Pakistan think Kareem is Pakistani. And everyone, because they've utilized that kind of a local tone, not only on a country level, but city level. And that's what made it resonate with people. So yeah, when you think about people in a different way and just speak to their heart, you can reach places.
No, I totally agree. I mean, you have to they have to feel what Tamara is as in essence, but then they have that local, declination to each of the local markets that do that. This is something that, for example, we've been very lucky to have been able to expand and work in different parts of the world with local partners, because at the end of the day, you have to really understand that culture that they have in those places. So I don't know how we're doing on time, but I think that it will be, you wanted to?
Yeah, I wanted to add one more thing to regarding the culture that's a bit specific to the context of Saudi Arabia. I think today culture is building a culture from the inside out is highly important, and I believe that brands are seeing its rising importance day by day. And with a country that's young, somehow 70% of the population are youth. These youth are not just looking for a paycheck when they're choosing their career or the brand they're going to be or the company they're going to be at. They're looking for a meaning. Yes, it's a meaning aligned with a bigger purpose. They want to be taking part, and not having a strong culture that aligns with their purposes or what they see themselves doing or how they see themselves contributing will simply make them not choose this business or not choose to join this brand. And I believe today in Saudi Arabia we have a bit of this challenge happening in the economy. Employee retention and employee attraction are of big problems, I would say, or challenges that we see across different.
Yeah, that's very true, because at the end of the day, first of all, it depends on the individual perspective, but from what I witnessed myself and what people cares about the most is impact. It's can they be part of this impact? If they don't feel like they are part of it, it's what's the point? Because at the end of the day, you can get certain stuff, but impact is the one that really matters the most.
Yeah, we started at first talking about Vision 2030, and I know that, for example, you probably have to deal with all of the fintech and everything as competitors to attract talent, but at the same time also having such a strong brand as Vision 2030 and having such amazing projects that the government is leading, that they also the best talent want to go there. Do you have that issue in terms of finding and fighting against that talent with
That's true. A lot of people would come to work for the government sometimes, or semi-government, because they have, more important or bigger roles that maybe can impact, or it's more aligned with that individual kind of perspective. But also in the same way, you can find people who love the fast-paced kind of a company. But also today, the government is also providing jobs that's also fast-paced as well.
Yeah.
So I can tell some other people, it's just like, you know what, I'm going there because they're moving very fast and they're creating a lot of initiatives and, etc. But again, when it comes to the startup experience, it's like either you be profitable and have an exit plan or it wouldn't work out. So the startup is more on the edge.
Yeah.
Because there is no one is backing you up other than investors, and investors, they care a lot about their money. So
yeah, and this takes me to the last point before maybe opening up for some questions. Is what recommendations will you give those people that said, you know what, I want to go into a startup, I want to start my own business, I want to be an entrepreneur?
I always say, it's like, don't listen to advices, listen to yourself.
Not even to your parents?
No. No. That's the first two people that you listen to. Just like admire everything they say, but like you should pick and choose sometimes.
Leave it there.
Exactly. Their love will always remain for you, so don't worry. So basically, I genuinely believe that you should listen to your own self. Avoid competition with others. Look at your own self in your own pace and just try to nurture your talent over time. This worked for me. And I just feel like this is the right way to deal with such things and such projects, is just to look at your own growth without looking at the others, because there is always someone who's going to be better than you. That's a fact of life. But the question is, like, how can you be a better version of yourself? And this is what you should work on.
Yeah.
Rashad, maybe some words.
Advise them to go for it. Saudi Arabia is the land of the dreamers and the pioneers and the disruptors. Think big, think different, and think with purpose, and just go for it.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the future of brand in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Stay tuned for Places with Purpose, our next episode in this two-part special, featuring Saudi and global place branding practitioners and mobility experts from Astara and Hyperloop TT.